Based on research and theory in cognitive psychology, it is recommended to avoid including redundant on screen text presented at the same time as on screen graphics and narration when creating e learning courses. The primary reason is that the participant might put more attention to the printed words than the printed graphics. When looking at the screen, the participant is unable to equally view both the graphic and the written words. Also, if audio is included, the participant might experience an overload of information when trying to learn. This means the learner may not be able to achieve learning because they're too busy trying to keep up with the graphics, the written words, and the audio. Learning is reduced because the participant is struggling with just trying to keep up with all the elements happening at the same time. Although the learning styles hypothesis, visual learners or audio learners, draw the conclusions from the acquisition theory of multimedia learning, there are some assumptions that are not completely supported. A major concern is that this theory makes notes on how people learn. As we know, learning is a very complex process. However, this theory basically notes that people just add new learning into memory, like adding new information into an empty box, close, and stored. Another concern with the idea of the learning styles theory is that it does not have solid evidence to support the claims. However, the cognitive approach argues and shares evidence that people have separate learning channels. There is a channel to process images to learn and a channel to process verbal learning. When learning, people use both channels to make sense of what they're learning. When there's extraneous graphics, people struggle with learning and it may lead to a cognitive overload. As a matter of fact, through a number of experiments, the overwhelming response tells us people who experience learning through non redundancy have better success than those who experience redundant learning. Could there be situations when combining words on the screen with audio? The answer is yes, but there are some guidelines. Let's review. First, in situations when there is no imagery on the screen. Second, in situations when the participant is given the ability to control the pace of the slide movement, such as giving a next button or maybe even a back button to go to a previous slide. Next, when greater cognitive effort is needed to learn, such as individuals who may have a learning disability or the topic is of high complexity. This helps put information into context. Finally, when only keywords are listed on the slide, such as bullet points of key information. In situations when participants only listen but not see, only 50% of their channels are working. Learning is so much more successful when there is an equal balance of verbal and image channels are being put to task. If no imagery is on the screen, only words and narration, people do not experience cognitive overload. Another interesting learning situation to point out is when these elements are broken into small sections. For instance, the participant watches a micro learning video, then sees the words and hears the narration. It is because they have the ability to focus on the imagery, then focus on the words and narration. Finally, when an image is on screen, accompanying keywords or bullets of key points creates a strong balance for the visual and the image channels without overload. There are still unknowns about redundancy and the research being conducted. The outstanding questions are: does adding redundant imagery, speech, and text help or hurt learning for non native speakers or in very complex learning situations? Does adding redundant imagery, speech, and text help or hurt when learning technical information, both terms and maybe workflows? Finally, does adding redundant imagery, speech, and text help or hurt learning when the e learning pace is controlled by the participant? I tried to find an example, but there is nothing better than a homemade craft project. Well, your focus on this screen should be on the chart located in the corner. However, I am distracting you from what you are hoping to learn because I'm reading to you exactly what every adult would want to happen to them when they are trying to learn. Now, let me explain the chart to you so you might be able to take away some information after reviewing this slide. In the bar chart located to the right outlines how the younger population views specific screens. Age 15 is blue, age 20 is red, and age 25 is green. Screen 1, age 15, 42. Age 20, 22. Age 25, 20. Screen 2, age 15, 25. Age 20, 44. Age 25, 20. Screen 3, age 15, 45. Age 20, 28. Age 25, 50. Following all the principles of the cognitive learning theory, multimedia will be incorporated in the course introduction, module lecture, and microlearnings of my course. Each multimedia element will not include redundancy. Thank you for reviewing. I hope that I've been able to help with learning more about the redundancy principle.